And it was God who did it. God forgave him.
God forgave him.
Yes.
So, did you hear the recent Lionel monologue about people, famous people or politicians that go through scandal, actually become their infamy makes them come back even stronger and more popular than before the infamy.
Exactly. And in South Carolina, where nobody, no Republican would ever vote for a Democrat.
That's a red state, right?
So,
that's a Bible Belt red state.
So he was the only candidate, no matter what the hell he did. Okay?
Ah, that is true. That is true. They'll never vote for a progressive liberal, for a Democrat, regardless, because they were demonized. Because they vote according to their religious cult, which has nothing to do with the Bible.
Exactly. Perhaps the Almighty did inspire those who drew the boundaries of South Carolina's 1st Congressional District. They packed it with so many Republicans that Sanford was able to engineer a comeback in polls by debating a flat piece of cardboard bearing the image of House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi.
So it was kind of like when Clint Eastwood was talking to the chair. Nobody there? Oh, man.
I think at that time there was nobody up there in Mr. Eastwood's head either.
It wasn't South Carolina the place, the location of the kudzu plant that grew in the shape of a cross,
Yeah.
and people started worshiping the kudzu because it looked like a cross, and they thought it was from God.
And they don't get it that Jesus was not crucified on a cross.
Oh.
He was crucified on a tree, a stake, and the cross is not a Christian symbol.
Religiousness, man. And don't they realize that the Republican philosophy is very anti-Bible? So
no.
Don't they see that?
No, because they don't allow for the truth to come out.
They don't read that part of the Bible.
That's correct. Okay, Mark 7, verse 7 through 9. You make my words of no effect because of your tradition.
That's right. I want to salute with my lucky blackthorn shillelagh the segment of the Facebook group Hard Hitting Truth called The God Project. The Bible Study Fellowship is growing by leaps and bounds. So don't forget to watch. Don't forget to. Well, you can watch it too on videos on the video God Project on Demand Archive Classics. But you can listen to the God Project every Sunday, 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes it goes on earlier than 2 p.m. But all the God Projects are on the internet. YouTube, Google. Just type in Megalife 21, God Project on Demand, and you will see them all. All right, continue.
Voters in the Low Country may have been weary of a man who made a national spectacle of himself by covering up an affair when he was chief executive and then hanging around in office. But when called to arms against liberals and spending and big government, they were prepared to forget Sanford's hike on the Appalachian Trail. The one that never happened, but was his attempt at a false alibi for being in Argentina to see his lover. Now, his fiancée.
What's his lover's name is Avita? As in Avita
Don't
Perot?
cry for me, Argentina!
Gaucho. He was giving her to Gaucho.
His Democratic opponent, Elizabeth Colbert Bush,
Oh, God.
tried everything she could to shove party and philosophy out of the voters' minds and keep them focused on the man they had once loathed and laughed at.
Is she a Republican too?
No. She's a Democrat, the sister of
I know.
Colbert.
Yeah. Stephen Colbert?
Stephen Colbert.
Of the Comedy Central?
She made herself relatively scarce when it came to campaign appearances, and her
Really?
advertising was out of a Chamber of Commerce promotion.
She had no gumption. She should have went public and did a Chris Christie in front of the camera, opened her big mouth, and kept on hitting Sanford with a barrage attack against his character and what he did.
He shouldn't have had a chance.
She wasn't aggressive. I notice a lot of female politicians are not aggressive enough.
But he shouldn't have had a chance.
Because these people are idiots, so you gotta yell at them.
But he shouldn't have had a chance.
He shouldn't have had a chance.
If people would look in the Bible and see what a real Christian is, he shouldn't have had a chance. Elizabeth No's job was the opener on a spot that touted her as a Charleston businesswoman and spoke of the importance of math and science. Hard to argue with that. She closed by telling voters, "I'm running for Congress to create jobs in South Carolina. That's what I know." What she and her handlers did not know, or hoped wasn't true, was how deep our regional and partisan divisions are. You can run from the ideology, but you can't hide. Ironically, it is Colbert Bush's brother, Stephen Colbert, who became one of the era's most entertaining and astute political satirists by understanding the power of ideology.
Yeah, and along with Jon Stewart, of course.
You might say that Sanford's whole campaign was drawn from a Stephen Colbert sketch. And yes, this was South Carolina. Remember when Newt Gingrich ran for the Republican presidential nomination last year? He won only 2 primaries in his home state of Georgia and in the state where the Civil War began.
Oh, Newt, the Gingrich that stole Christmas is from Georgia? The Peach State?
It's funny, by the way, that Sanford's full-page ad defending his visit to his ex-wife Jenny's house in violation of court order referred to the Battle of the Alamo, but misstated the year that it happened as 1863. This would move the fight to the death into the middle of the War of Northern Aggression, as some Southerners see it. Was this evocative error entirely accidental? Gingrich has also led what he can politely call a colorful personal life. But he knew that South Carolina was one place where he could argue that Mitt Romney was a kind of crypto-liberal and make it stick. It was the perfect setting for a contest against Pelosi's photo. In light of all the money the Democrats spent, it's still remarkable how loyal Republicans were to the man who once represented them.
Oh, I take that back. The women, the conservative coven of witches from Fox News, they're aggressive. like the Medusa Ann Coulter.
Colder cut.
Colder cut. Yeah, she's a witch, man. She's
In
aggressive.
the end, Colbert Bush ran only 5 points ahead of President Obama's 40% in the district in 2012.
Oh, yeah?
In two of its more conservative counties, Dorchester and Berkeley, she hardly gained anything on Obama's share. Democrats insisted, as soon as the results were known, that Sanford's triumph will prove to be an embarrassment to congressional Republicans. It will be, at least for a while, especially since the newly minted House member has to show up in court on Thursday on his wife's trespassing charge. Jesse Ferguson, the spokesman for the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, was quick to note that there are 119 Republican incumbents in districts more Democratic than South Carolina's first. Sanford's win does not tell us much about the 2014 midterm. That's right, but it does say a great deal about America in 2013. God may well have moved Sanford to turn his life around and to run a scrappy campaign without any assistance from the big honchos in Washington. But his resurrection was a phenomenon, not of the next world, but of this one. Of a country so torn by party dogma that an imaginary walk along the Appalachian Trail counts for little when compared with the chance to beat the other guys, even when they're made out of cardboard. Okay?
Yeah. Well, I happen to agree with Lionel. Anybody who goes from famous to infamous will make a bigger comeback than they originally were.
Remember what P.T. Barnum said.
It's a sucker born every minute.
And you'll never
underestimate the...
Well, basically, you'll never get poor by underestimating the intelligence of the American people. You know? But again, when we're talking about South Carolina, I don't think we're talking about intelligence. Not all South Carolinians, of course. Just the hardcore, ideological, right-wing, religious nuts.
When you think about it, rural America, which is predominantly what the red states consist of, right?
Yeah.
What do you have in rural America? The main source of income is what? Farming, right? Most likely, if it's rural, right? Farms. Yeah. Right. Well, since Republicans...
Truck driving.
Well, a lot of things are shipped by train now.
A lot of truck
trailers
drivers
on the train, believe me. Yeah, so, Republicans haven't done anything good for farmers.
No, but they have for wholesalers and the big agriculture farmers.
These red state, rural America individuals keep on voting for a political party that does not have their best interests at heart.
Yeah, but they're for smaller government and for religion.
Because they believe that government is the enemy, and they never mention corporations. It's always government, and you know who else does that all the time? All the conspiracy theory organizations also blame government. It's always big government that is demonized and is the cause of our problems. Oh, big government is spying on us. Oh, big government is watching everything we do. Big government wants to take our guns away. Our guns away. What is that, the Second Amendment?
Yeah.
Yeah. But never mention the real culprit, which is the source of the corruption, which is corporate America and their lobbyists, and of course the politicians have a price eventually, but they never mention that. So do you think the conspiracy theorists are perhaps libertarian? It seems like.
Do not put them into parties.
Why not?
Because they are individuals. And each individual has his own ideas and why he particularly likes a certain ideology.
You know, liberals, look, liberals have two
You're
faults.
speaking too generally.
See, liberals do, the problem is they don't want to offend anyone with a passion. They don't want to offend anyone, and they're always avoiding generalizing. You know, sometimes if it walks like a duck, it sounds like a duck, and looks like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah, but it's not a party. It's a person.
But what about...
You can't make a personality a party.
But what if they post, what if they create a pattern by posting similar things every week on the internet, and they form a pattern?
That's their personality.
Then there's
Then they might join a party which believes in their personality.
Like many conspiracy theorists.
That's not the party.
Many conspiracy theorists, they like Ron Paul. Ron Paul is more or less a libertarian.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with personality?
Well, the person. What I'm trying to get at is, do you think a libertarian is almost a Republican, almost a conservative?
You can find libertarians. No, a libertarian is a conservative fiscally.
Fiscally,
not socially. He's not for abortion and all of this other crap. He's for smaller government. He's for the government having its house in order, etc.
Okay.
Smaller government.
All right. So is a libertarian pro-choice or pro-life?
Pro-choice.
Okay. So it's a hybrid. It's like saying moderate Democrat.
Yeah, but
it's like Rudy Giuliani when he used to run and call himself a moderate Democrat.
Not anymore.
Oh, he turned Repub?
He's a conservative Republican.
The little rascal.
But
well,
again,
Alphonse D'Amato used to be like a moderate Republican.
Yeah, but those things don't exist anymore.
Moderates?
Yeah, in the Republican Party, there are no such things.
They don't tolerate moderates.
They will get kicked out.
So he sold out. Rudy Giuliani went for the Mamu.
Whatever. But the point is, when you're talking about the people that you're talking about personality, character, not a party. The character will choose a party which seems to believe in what it believes in. But before the party is the character of the person. So it's the person's character which is the problem. He only bands together with others for power and etc. who happen to believe like he believes.
Yeah, we're dealing with human nature, which is the root cause of the problems that we have, which is very ancient.
Human nature goes back to the devil because it's the devil's nature.
So when we use words like the devil's economics in America today, we're talking about something created by human nature, which is very sinful. We're talking about greed and vanity, selfishness,
all of that stuff,
being passed on as a virtue. You know,
competition.
There you go. Selfishness, negative things passed on as a virtue, portrayed as a virtue. That's why an infamous politician comes back stronger. Actually,
in certain places. In other places, he would be laughed at.
Yeah. Well, Lionel says that this holds promise for Anthony Weiner.
Yes, it does.
If he ever wants to make a comeback.
But
because they like look at Charlie Sheen.
No matter how infamous you are, etc., you can do one thing, and that's for sure in America.
Send your nude
Write a book.
Send your nude pictures.
Or have a book written on your behalf.
Yeah.
And it will sell.
Well, look at Bill Clinton with Monica Lewinsky. Everybody loves him. He's the most popular
ex-president.
He's the most popular, most well-loved politician or former politician that ever lived now.
Whoever sold us down the road.
With the Glass-Steagall.
Welfare as we know it ended. Glass-Steagall. Well, the Modernization Act.
But now he admits Glass-Steagall was a mistake.
Yes, he does.
Was a mistake.
There were many other things too. But it's too late, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah. One last juicy reading.
We don't have one. We have a long one here.
Is
It's
it,
juicy.
is it juicy?
It's okay. It's about our friends, the bats.
Oh, God. I mean, I like
Hey!
that.
Oh, God! The cicadas are coming, buddy. We need these bats.
What about the bees? About the bees dying? Is there
Pesticides.
Is there a, well, we know that. Is there an article about the bees?
No.
Bats?
They are doing an experiment
With bats?
with the bees.
Yeah.
They are not using a certain pesticide, which they're blaming on the bees. They're not going to use it for 2 years.
In theory.
And see if the bees come back.
Oh, gee, heaven forbid they stop using pesticides and make the whole world organic. Oh, they can't do that, can't they?
No. No.
Oh, poor Monsanto will lose profit.
Yeah.
Like we should,
Chris.
like we should give a shit if a corporation loses profit.
Well, since our whole government and capitalistic system is geared to the corporation.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. So, if we have nothing to take its place, what happened?
I trust big government much more than I would
I know,
trust
but it cannot provide the jobs.
trust a corporation.
Unless we do a WPA like Franklin Delano Roosevelt did and provided 8.5 million jobs. Jobs for artists, etc.
What about jobs that are
Big artists came out of
what
it.
about jobs that are positive and contribute to society?
Yeah. Like building a high-speed rail.
That we desperately need in the United States.
Or the roads.
The
The
fast
infrastructure, the bridges.
the monorails that we're supposed to have now, the high-speed bullet trains.
Why can't we have...
The monorails, instead of the trolley, a monorail system similar to a trolley to alleviate the pollution and the traffic and the need for people to go in further debt by getting a car.
Why can't
to
we
avoid
have,
getting a new car?
like air taxis, cars, buses? You know the air ones?
Well, New York City has, it says on the
Boats,
New
yeah,
York
the
City
boats.
bus, it says a clean exhaust.
No, they
clean.
ride on air.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Ride
right.
on air. Or those magnet things that they with the trains. And
Anti-gravity.
Anti-gravity things.
It's like, it runs on there's electromagnetic current going through the rail.
Whatever.
And it hovers a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Light rails. That's the words I was looking for before. Light rails, a modern, high-speed.
Well, light rails today is like trolleys.
Right.
That's light rails.
Except it's modernized. A high-speed light rail system, similar to a monorail, will really tremendously solve the traffic problem, the pollution, and so many people.
What about the Roosevelt Island tram?
Roosevelt Island tramp?
Tram.
Tram?
The tram that runs from New York to Roosevelt Island.
What does that run on?
Like the things that take you up the ski hill.
Oh, that.
On a wire. Well, you got no traffic.
You better make sure nobody sabotages that cable.
Sometimes it sticks in the middle and you're stuck
And
there
you're
for
stuck.
a while. Yeah.
I saw a horror movie of people stuck on a ski lift, and it was towards closing time, and the wolves were waiting for them. Yeah, it was a horror movie. It's terrible. Yeah, but anyway, light rail system, totally electric or electromagnetic. That's what we need. My friend in Indonesia says that the traffic, on average, every day, commuting to work, the drive to work is like anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. Gridlock, bumper to bumper, because the highway system, the money that is supposed to go towards modernizing or widening the highway system went into the pockets of third world country corrupt politicians, and the public transportation system did not receive the money that it was supposed to receive because of these politicians, and the traffic is horrible. And I am sure the pollution is also horrible.
Another example of things not done in the interest of the people.
Regardless what country it is, United States or somewhere else, think about it. Politician, they usually start off as lawyers, right?
A lot of them are lawyers.
Politician stealing money and putting it in the pocket. That's why the new national park over in Paterson, New Jersey, Great Falls National Park, it never got off the ground.
Oh boy.
Nobody wants to go into Paterson, even though it's right near the highways, major highways. It's like a lot of money that was allocated for historic Paterson and that national park just vanished because the local politicians in Paterson City Hall does not want to let the federal government and the state help, control historic Paterson and the national park. They want to control it, and the money always mysteriously disappears.
Mm-hmm.
City Hall sucks it up like a sponge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not mentioning any names. Yeah, you could do the math yourself. So, all right, continue.
Continue.
Oh.
I told you, we got it long.
It's long.
Yeah.
About the bats. You want to do the bats next week?
Of course. It's important that we know about the bats.
Well, yeah. Put all the old ones aside so you don't reread them.
They are.
All right. I will say adios.
Amigos.
Yes.
Mi gente.
Even though I did not go anywhere for Cinco de Mayo, but I can always have wonderful all-you-can-eat, home-style cooked Mexican food at this restaurant in Hackensack, New Jersey that I love on Main Street in Hackensack called Il Rancho. Every Wednesday is all-you-can-eat for only $10.
Ooh.
No liquor license, but the food is fantastic. All the meat is like marinated and grilled to perfection, and the fresh cilantro they use and everything, and you could smell that smoky barbecue flavor on the meat. If you get a enchilada or a burrito and or a what the hell's it called again?
Tacos.
No, a quesadilla, and if it has, or a chicken salad. Fiesta chicken salad, the grilled meat is always chicken breasts. You don't get the cheap dark meat. And they have pork, which is similar to lechon, pulled pork in English, in American. Delicious food. So I salute Il Rancho. They closed the Brazilian barbecue that I used to go to for $10 for lunch. Called Greenfields. I heard it closed. I don't know why. It was a beautiful place at a beautiful price. But there's plenty of buffets in our area where a buffet in our area, which is usually high level, high end. They're owned and run by Chinese Americans, and the food is fabulous. I have yet to have been to a bad one. They're all great, and for lunch, a little over $7, you can get lunch, and you can eat seafood there. It's the cheapest place in America to eat good seafood, is one of these Chinese-owned buffets. So, to the buffets in, I would say, the East Coast, because the ones in Florida are owned by Chinese Americans also. I salute you. Buffets, the best value in America today with restaurants, culinary industry, but it has to be a good buffet, no crap. There's so many of them, so support these buffets. Anyway, I say so long for now. Thank you for being here for this week's Progressive Discussions. Say so long to these jabronis.
So long, jabronis. Hasta la vista. Hasta mañana. Hasta luego.
All those hostas.
All those hostas.